guys. Welcome to Eufaula Artalks. Forgot where I was for a minute. Okay, I'm going to take this thing off so I'm not so muffled. We did have someone concerned about being the closeness during these talks, and we, of course, we do make sure that we are all have been in hibernation and taking precautions. So no worries out there. But thanks for joining us again today for the Eufaula Art Talks, put on by the Eufaula Area Arts. And during this time of the pandemic, a lot of artists and the arts itself has been affected by the COVID. And we just decided to take this time and do a series this summer to talk to different artists, different mediums of art. And we've had some great guests. And today we have with us Miss Donna Pearce.
Hi.
Hey, say hi to everybody. Say hi, everybody. All right. So those of you that don't know Donna, and I've known her for quite a while since I came back from LA. And when I first met you, I think you were a journalist at the Indian Journal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she used to sell Celebrating Home, and I was her top
number one hostess. I sure hated when they discontinued that.
Hey, I still buy it online. She has been married for 55 years to David. Now that in itself is an art.
Yes. Have to get creative there for sure.
You grew up on a peanut farm?
I did.
Tell me about that.
In
what was
western
that like?
Oklahoma. Well, it was always hot and hard work and getting outside. And as you can see, my face is a little red. I'm battling some skin cancers and going to have surgery later this month. But basically, my dermatologist said I'm allergic to the sun, and because I'm so pale. Fair skin.
Yes.
So, but in those days, I had to wear a hat, a long sleeve shirt, and everything if I got out. So when my little brother came along, Mom stayed out and worked in the field alongside Dad, and I stayed in the house and started cooking, and and playing the piano. I took piano lessons and stuff, so I just did things in the house as much as possible.
Is that where your interest in art started, with the piano?
Actually, I was interested long before that. My mom always sang around the house, and so I always sang.
Oh.
I can remember before I had a TV, sitting on the couch, listening to the Grand Ole Opry on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
And I would always sing with that and sing with my mom, and I took up sewing and drawing. I like to draw at that time, and so
that all kind of led up to your artistic ability in past. Well, I know you've done a lot of things, and I know we have one of your paintings here that we will show later, and along with some of your other crafts, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you were talking about you listened to the Grand Ole Opry on the radio, and so years and years later, you actually became a part, or you sang with the Oklahoma Country Music Association.
And the Oklahoma Opry, which is another entity.
And
at that time, they do, and they've moved from the old theater in the downtown area to over to Western Avenue, down into Cowtown now. But at that time, there was another one called the Western Oklahoma Opry too, and so I participated with all three of those along in the 80s. And
now you recorded an album. Tell me about that.
I recorded an album in 1989, and with the Woodside label, which Bob Woods he had a music store in Del City, and he had a studio there, and he was the president of the Oklahoma Country Music Association for many years. So that's where my connection came with that, and so I.
Now, did you do that as a soloist or with a band?
No, I was a soloist, but when they laid down the tracks, they laid down my voice tracks. I went in the studio and they laid down the voice, and then they came in with their band, their house band, and laid the others. There was like, they have to, when they're doing an album, it's like 12 tracks or more, that they lay down, and then it all comes together.
What was the title of it?
Wrestle with the Devil. And it was written by an Oklahoma lady who was a member of the Oklahoma Country Music Association. Her name was Lee Harper. I remembered her name afterward.
So you sang with a band as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. And then that was 1989. In the early 90s, I joined a band, a local band. We played at school functions and festivals and steakhouse, and stuff like that. And it was just, school superintendent, college student, a farmer, and the band teacher at school, and me.
Well, how fun is that, though? That's great
we
memories,
had a lot
but
of
also
fun.
It kind of established the foundation for where you went from there. Now, I know you best from your acting years here in Eufaula, because I got to see you in actually in a singing role, in a musical, and that was fun.
It was a lot of fun. The acting that I did, I enjoyed. I liked that before too, but in a small school setting, we used to have like class plays or senior class play, and it'd actually be a fundraiser. And so I was in those in school, but no, training or formal settings of any kind.
Well, you dabbled a little bit in writing as well.
I did. Of course, writing became my business. I taught school for 9 years. I taught both home economics and English, and in junior high, senior high levels, and but I enjoyed. I used to write all the time, even when I was little, but I did join some writing organizations in Oklahoma City before I moved. From out west, and then when I first moved down here, I belonged to McSherry's Writers at McAllister. And all. So I just say I'm an unpublished author concerning that. So all my published writing has been in the journalism field. Besides the newspaper, I wrote agricultural articles for like agricultural magazines in the state. The Oklahoma Peanut Producer was one of them.
Wow. So what's if you had a choice of a certain medium in writing, what would be the type of writing that you enjoyed?
Well, I was a romance author, but I like mysteries real well, and nowadays, a lot of that's combined, and so my favorite authors typically are those some of those people that I know that I'm still friends with, and most of them either write Western, Westerns, or historical, or the mystery romance.
Have you ever had a whole book published, or
no? I
just
haven't
stories?
had a whole book, just stories.
I hear that it's a lot easier to do that now.
Probably is, and
so
I kept saying when I
interested.
retired from the paper in 2012 here that I was going to write, but there's so many things to do and not enough time to do them all.
I hear you on that.
Because I still, I didn't start oil painting until the 1980s. And then, of course, we moved, and my job just consumed I had like 10 years in there when I didn't do anything but work, because I was the sole person at the newspaper as far as the news went, and until I moved down here, and and started picking those things up again, and to do my oil painting. But I haven't got back into my studio. I have a studio where I live, but I've been. My husband is his health is deteriorating, and so I spend a lot of time inside, taking care of him taking him to the doctors and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess that's what happens when we get older.
Well, you said you also do you play instruments. Some
I
different
do.
instruments.
I started piano when I was young, and I was probably 10 or so, and so I played piano at church, and I played piano for like graduation at school and you know things like that, and then when I joined the band in the early 1990s. There were 5 of us, and I was a vocalist. That we were all vocalists, but lead vocalists, depending upon the songs. And but the band teacher, who was our leader, said everybody else is playing an instrument, and you're going to have to too. So he gave lessons actually at a local music store in Weatherford, and so I went in. So he said, "You're going to play bass guitar." So I went in and I bought a bass guitar, and he gave me a few lessons. And
do you still play?
And then not the bass guitar. You can't accompany yourself with just the bass.
Okay, well, that's
and
true.
so and I've developed arthritis. And I tell you, it's something that, my crocheting and stuff it seemed to improve that.
Yeah.
I've been doing that a lot more the last 2 years.
So
But I picked up Selby Minner. I was talking with her, and she said, "Why don't you get a baritone ukulele?"
Mm-hmm.
And she said that will be easier for you to play. Plus, it'll be, a transition if you do want to go back to. I have a guitar at home. I play just acoustic guitar. I started on that when I got into the singing at the Oklahoma Country Music Association. But so she gave me one lesson last year because I had to sing. I was singing at my family reunion in North Carolina last fall. And so we had time for her to get one lesson in. And so I went down and I sang 4 songs. And,
oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to wrap it up here, but let's
Right.
talk about your craft. Tell me how you started, what got you going with crochet.
All of the sewing, the crochet, and any sewing that I do, I started real young. My mother taught me to start with. And but the last 2 years, since I'm at home more and with David, I did festivals last year and sold my stuff.
Yeah.
And of course this year they've all been canceled in the spring. So
we're gonna
I've always done that.
We're going to show some of them, and you can talk about them as we show them. We're going to have to wrap it up here in a few minutes. But if you're interested in getting any products that you see on here, just contact us on our Facebook. Do you have a Facebook page that you want to shout out?
I don't have a Facebook page.
But you can contact the Eufaula Area Arts or look at our Facebook page. We'll have all the pictures there. If you want to look at them again, they'll be on our page. And you can contact her through us if you're interested in anything. And let's take a look here.
Okay.
Okay, I can kind of ask you some questions about them. Hi, guys.
Penny Pratt.
Oh,
Hi, Penny.
Susan
Okay,
Penny.
here we go. Well, first of all, you said this was the only painting that you did that you have left.
Yes, that I have left at home. I have some at the museum at Shakota.
Oh, nice.
That are on display. But
Tell us about this one.
no, this one is actually a picture from a stormy scene in the Porham Landing area in 2007 when we had a drought, and so these are trees sticking up out of the water.
That.
And these colors are true to the colors. We have the most
Nice.
magnificent sunsets.
So is this a personal one?
Very bright colors. No,
it's for sale.
available.
Okay.
I have,
All right, now
I
I'm
have
going
a
to
lot of personal ones.
show your pillows because we're about to run out of time
the
here.
pillows.
And I want to just
Yeah.
go over here real quick.
Oh, okay.
Look at all these things. These are all for sale, guys. If
Yeah.
you can see them, they're so cute. But tell
is
us
some
about
more.
those. I thought that was very interesting.
These are scrubbies, actually. and I had some patterns for some, and I made up some because I wanted to make more things. So
Cool.
those are scrubby. These are scrubby dishcloths. Yeah,
They got
these are scrubby dishcloths, and this is actually an Oklahoma Indian blanket.
Oh, that's so pretty.
I don't have a pattern for that. I just made that up.
I might have to have one of those.
So, that,
But
and of course, I've been
I'd be
making
like,
that.
oh, I don't want to get this dirty.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
Look at this one,
they
guys.
launder.
Yeah.
You just throw them in the laundry.
Well, Donna,
and
thank you so
stuff.
much for coming today. I want to show some of these as we're going out. Some people may
These are-
not even think of this. Ooh.
This is like a face cloth with a face scrubby in it.
Oh, ooh.
This is like a dishcloth and a scrubby and a hot pad. So is the apple. This is the hot pad.
Nice.
The other side of it.
Nice. Now, this is an interesting concept.
Uh-huh.
All right, guys, we got to get
Yeah.
off of here, but thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, contact Donna on through the Eufaula Area Arts, and we appreciate you being here
I do have
today.
things to order.
All right, things to order, and you'll do if they want something special colors,
and
that sort of
special
thing.
Colors.
Okay, any last parting words, Donna, that you
Oh.
would like to say?
When I was growing up, we didn't have art, we didn't have music in school. I went to a real small school. We need things like the Arts Council, anything that promotes that creativity in
Yeah.
our youth.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I agree. Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget that we are going to have our Yellow Submarine Art Show, September 19th. Join us next week. Who's our guest, Donna? Or Glenna?
Is Kelly Medley, musician.
Kelly Madley. Next Tuesday, 1 o'clock, guys. Join us then. See you. Thanks for being here.
She goes to Nashville.
Yes, she does.
And she won.
A musician.
And she was in our Got Talent.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. She won. Last year. She
Because
won.
she was
last year.
helped present this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it
think
was-
I remember her.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
She was that little
Blonde-headed,
girl. I'm
kinda
trying to
short,
find
blonde-headed.
youthful people to be in
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah, she's.
And she's one of
Uh-huh.
them. There's also LaDonna Long. She's a art kid that from our Eufaula Area Arts continuously year after year. Now she's still an artist. Mostly she
That's
does
cool.
tattoos. Like, I don't know if she's gonna mention that.
Hey,
They're like under the table kind of tattoos. So I don't know if she wants to mention it.
yeah, probably not, because state health department will get you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riot gives ukulele lessons.
Yeah. Yes.
Isn't that weird? Did she take them from Selby or?
Self-taught.
Self-taught. I actually, I got a book, but Selmy just.
Tell
she
you
wrote
what,
down
you
some
did 4
notes
songs,
and
that's
stuff
pretty
for
amazing.
me to get started.
Yeah.
And
Selby is one of the best teachers I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
If you know,
Related to
if you
guitar,
know,
string instruments.
if you know like the guitar and if you know notes and stuff like that, I think it's pretty easy. And
Yeah.
but she picked it up. She
Uh-huh.
had a
Well, it's a small
if you know,
instrument.
Yeah,
piano,
but I couldn't play
you
it.
can play other things
Well,
too.
I couldn't either because I don't know.
Yeah, you
notes.
gotta have a little
I
bit
don't
of.
have a clue how to read.
You got to have a little bit of
Yeah.
musical talent, and she
Uh-huh.
could. She picked it up. She could read. She can. She's
Okay.
crazy.
You don't have to read notes. If
Good.
if
you want to
you
teach singing lessons?
if you do
Chords.
chords
Mhm.
and number by number, when the band teacher was teaching me or teaching, everyone he taught, but even in the band, we would, we had our music, but it was by number, and that way
Oh, yeah.
Whatever chord, you could play any song in any key, because as long as you went by the numbers. Because if you're, say you're singing in the key of G, well, that's the number 1 chord. And so you have 5
Wow.
chords, basically.
You need to
Now,
teach lessons.
there's a lot more,
Yeah.
minors and stuff, but we're talking about just the 5. And like most country music is the 1-4-5.
Do you want one of
So,
these bookmarks?
And
Which one do you want?
the way I learned mine was because I had piano,
Do you want this one?
so
They're by one each.
I could visualize the
Oh, that's pretty.
keys on the keyboard,
Uh-huh.
and that told me what numbers they were, like C, because you have C, D, E, F, G,
Uh-huh.
A, B, and there's 7. So if you're doing, say, C, and that's number 1, D is going to be number 2, E is going to be number 3, F is going to be 4, and G is going to be 5. So country songs, 1-4-5. So if you're singing in the key of G, it's going to be C, F, and G are going to be your main chords.
Yeah.
Other than when you're going on to sevenths and minors and
All
all that. Which,
all that
you know,
is still
but-
way over my
but
head.
just basic, the basic keys, which is basically all you need
Yeah.
for a lot of music. Because
I can
country
actually.
and gospel was what I always sang, and I do a little bit of old time rock and roll, and then I do some blues. But
I can actually read it. I just can't read it very fast.
yeah, well, I can't either anymore. It's been so many years since I played piano.
I can go. That's it.
And yeah,
But I can't.
Uh,
I can't play.
uh-huh.
I can't play. I tried to take guitar lessons when I was an adult, and it absolutely just. I couldn't. I got a couple. I learned a couple of chords, and it was just.
You just didn't get it.
over my
Well-
head. I just couldn't. And like even now, I have a keyboard at home. Yeah. I need, if I would practice and learn, maybe. I think the keyboard would be pretty easy.
Just the basic.
Yeah.
If you just stay with the basic
That's
stuff.
for you to fill out.
Okay.
And before we leave, I'll call the person that can paint your.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to talk to her.
Uh huh.
Oh, we're still on, huh?